Hey there, it's Shauna. Welcome back to your weekly astrology forecast for November 12th. This week is about reconnecting and rethinking. We have an interesting shift change this week because Venus, which is about connection, is stationing direct, while on the same day, Mercury, which is about thinking, communication, will be stationing retrograde. So as always, I'm excited to share the astrology of this week with you, and then I have 3 tips for you to make the most out of this week. First things first, we have the first quarter moon in the sign of Aquarius. This is happening on Thursday. It's exact at 6:45 a.m. Pacific time. And what's really interesting about this first quarter moon is it's in the sign of Aquarius, and it's going to be very close to the planet Mars, while Mars is making an aspect to Uranus. And so what does all that mean? So the first quarter moon is always this point of initiation, taking action, making choices, and deciding on which direction it is that you want to go in, being all in or making little fine-tunements here, but it's a forward-moving energy. It's about growth. And Mars is the planet that represents action, and it symbolizes taking charge of something and really fighting for something. The fact that this is happening in an aspect to the planet Uranus is really interesting because Uranus is about changing a system. It can have an energy that's almost sort of surprising or unexpected. So that'll be an interesting theme this week, where there's this feeling, this emotional tone. Moon is emotional tone of like wanting to go towards something or breaking through something, and there's a lot of vigor within this this moon aspect this week. The other thing that's happening is Venus, the planet that symbolizes relationships, love, sex, beauty, values. It is stationing direct on Saturday. So Venus has been retrograde, which is about reevaluating and reevaluating your values, what it is that you find dear to you, and then also just reevaluating relationships in general. Venus is about social connections, any one-on-one connections that you have. And so Venus has been retrograde from October 5th. It stationed retrograde October 5th at 11 degrees of Scorpio, and then in astrology it moved backward through the zodiac until this Saturday, November 16th. It will station direct at 25 degrees of Libra. So this is more significant for you personally if you have any personal planets that are within that little band of the zodiac from early Scorpio to late Libra. And so the thing about this is there's kind of this switch that's happening on the same day, is because also on Saturday this week, Mercury, which is the planet that symbolizes communication, new ideas, logical connection, news, getting new news, that planet is stationing retrograde. So that is about rethinking and reanalyzing over the next few weeks. So I think that's why this week it may kind of feel like you're shifting from thinking about reconnecting and how it is that you socialize in a different way, or just, evaluating what it is that looks like for you, to rethinking in a more linear way and communication and new information. So Mercury is stationing retrograde on Saturday, November 16th at 11 degrees of Sagittarius. And what's interesting about this station is it's also going to be squaring Neptune. So I think Saturday, I'm curious how you feel. You'll have to let me know. But Saturday may feel like either there's new information that comes in, but it may feel like things are a little bit confusing at the same time, because Neptune is about illusion or disillusionment. And so Mercury will be retrograde from this Saturday until December 5th. And it will station retrograde, or station direct at 27 degrees of Scorpio. And so what's cool is you've already been through Venus retrograde, which is about a good solid 6 weeks of time. Mercury retrograde, it's just going to be 3 weeks or so. So it's like no big deal. So I have some tips for you to really manage through this energy. Tip number 1 for this week is to take action early in the week. And I think this is important because there's a lot of juice here for taking action. That the flow of the energy is this first quarter moon with Mars, with Uranus. It's a very forward moving and initiatory kind of vibe this week. So definitely take action early in the week. Tip number 2 is to reflect on your reconnection. So especially like what is the nature of your relationships and your social connections been from early October, from October 5th through this Saturday? Is there anything that has changed for you? Is there anything that are there any themes that have really been presenting themselves? And maybe not, maybe it's been overt, maybe it's been more subtle. But anything around like relationships, social connections, and even especially your values, like how has that shifted or changed over time? And you can get more information about that for yourself personally, of course, by looking at where Venus has been moving through your birth chart. That will give you more symbolic information. Tip number 3 is to plan and rethink. And so what I mean by that is maybe sitting down, taking 5 minutes and being like, okay, what is it in my life that I really need to like rethink, that I want to reflect on? Because you'll have opportunities to do that over the next 3 weeks while Mercury is retrograde until December 5th. So I always like to set the tone when there's a retrograde and to do a little check-in with yourself, because themes will start to present themselves with you. And I think a part of this too is what's cool about astrology is you can look at where a planet is retrograde in your personal birth chart. So that will give you more information by looking at the house that it's in, which is the area of life, and also planets that it may be aspecting for you, which are parts of you, parts of your psyche, and parts of your internal world. But also, you don't even need to know that. You can just reflect on where it feels like you need some more reflection in your life, or where it feels like things are not flowing exactly in the way that you would like, or maybe even not that. Maybe something just feels like like there's a new opening somewhere in your life and you want to explore that. So those are all things for you to muse on this week. And then I am going to pull a tarot card for us. So I'm pulling from my gently used Rider-Waite deck here. And so this will be a just tone for the week. What to lean into, what to watch out for, some additional guidance for you. Okay, cool. So I pulled the Page of Wands. And so the page, we'll break it down a little bit. So the page has like this youthful teenager kind of spirit. Like the court, all of the court cards in tarot, they can symbolize a literal person in your life, or they can symbolize an energy inside of you. It could go either way. So if we were to personalize this, it would be, it would symbolize a teenager or a person that has kind of like a rebellious, like very enthusiastic, yet very inexperienced personality. So that's the vibe of this card. And even more so on the enthusiasm, because it's the wands. And so the wands are about fire, passion, action. You can think of it as kind of like a Mars type of energy, and like very fiery. The other elements of this are that he's in this kind of like desert, hot, arid kind of environment, and there's the salamanders that are on his tunic. And the salamanders are also associated with fire and like movement and kind of like this rapid movement. So I did pull this card reversed. So what I will say to you is that that is a theme this week. I would relate that especially to this Mars-Uranus energy. So I think definitely important to take action. But also we're in this like retrograde kind of weird cycle thing here. So I think that it's important to have a channel for your enthusiasm. And it's important to be able to take action this week and to even just physically move your body to, like, you know, go for walks or exercise or yoga, whatever it is that that feels good to you, to move your body physically to feel like you're making progress. I was thinking that especially too early in the week because we have the moon in the sign of Capricorn before it gets to Aquarius. So that's super important to have this feeling of movement. But then at the same time, know that you may want to change the things that you're doing. So know that things are not necessarily going to be set in stone. And I think that's clear with this being the page of where there's like enthusiasm, but inexperience also, or maybe not knowing how things are going to turn out. So that is your horoscope for the week. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, share it with a friend who you think would appreciate it too. And you can stay connected to me on Instagram or Facebook under Neo-Feminine Astrology. Also, if you have asked about the 2019 Moon Journal, thank you so much. Yes, there will be a 2019 Moon Journal. I am working on it. I am severely behind schedule. But I wanted to let you know that, yes, there will definitely be a Moon Journal. So the best way to stay up to speed on that is to follow me on Instagram or Facebook, because I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted there on the progress. And my goal is to have it available at least for purchase in December. So stay tuned, and thank you for asking about that. I'm happy that you enjoyed those. All right, that's all for this week. Wishing you a wonderful week and sending lots of love. I'll see you soon. Namaste.